Forget the hype. Forget those clickbaity thumbnails that promise you can reach fluency in just 7 days. Because learning a language, and I mean really learning a language, does not look like that. It looks like a messy desk covered in notebooks and grammar notes you don't understand. It sounds like stumbling over the same word over and over and over and over again. It feels like that pit in your stomach right before you're getting ready to speak with a native for the first time. This isn't another hype video. This is the start of a long and laborious documentary. For the next 30 days, I will follow an intense 100-minute-a-day plan to learn Italian from scratch. I'm going to show you the real, unfiltered process, the exact daily schedule and progress, the frustrating lows, and the exciting, surprising highs, and the level of Italian that I reach after 1 month of study. This is what learning a language in 30 days actually looks like. But before I talk about my plan on how I am gonna go about this challenge, some of you might be thinking, Baltin, why bother with Italian? Especially those of you who've been following me and know that I've recently moved to Switzerland. Thank you for being a fan, by the way. You might be thinking, why not go for German, an economically more important language? Well, the short answer is, it's for science. I have already dedicated thousands and thousands of hours to learning foreign languages and perfecting my study. I have done similar experiments before, and my most successful one was from 2 years ago when I accomplished something I didn't truly believe was possible. In just 3 months, starting from scratch, I mastered the Spanish language completely independently. All thanks to developing and honing a methodology that I learned works best for me. If you don't believe that I actually did this, here is the confirmation by the amazing professionals at MIT Global Languages. And if you're interested in all the nitty-gritty of my methodology, you should watch this video where I go into the complete detail of everything I did. It's a rather long video, so if you don't have the time right now, save it to your watch later and come back to it over the weekend. The main reason for doing this Italian in 30 days challenge is to validate my methodology and extensively document it, so you, the viewers, have a guideline into what it actually takes to truly learn a language. Italian is similarly distant to the languages that I know now as Spanish was when I was learning it, to the languages that I knew 2 years ago, so I expect my overall progress to move at a similar rate. Also, I am around high intermediate in French, I guess, and I am not a complete beginner in German, so that leaves Italian as the only national language of Switzerland that I am a complete beginner in and that I can readily find resources and speakers around me to practice with. I'm in Lausanne, so even though it's French-speaking Switzerland, there are Italians everywhere. Thus, the mission is simple. Document everything, be brutally honest, and show you the real results. No magic tricks, just consistent work. By the end of it, I hope you will be inspired to follow along and pursue your own language learning journey in the language that you're interested in and have been procrastinating on starting. The internet is a graveyard of half-finished language goals, and the reason they usually die is a lack of structure. So here is my blueprint. My goal isn't to reach fluency in 30 days. That's ridiculous. The only way to accomplish that would be to spend all of my awake hours dedicated to the language, and I simply don't have that much time right now. Instead, I want to build a solid foundation. I want to learn just enough to be able to hold a basic, introductory, 5-minute conversation without completely disintegrating and falling apart. I will be committing 1 hour and 40 minutes of my day, which should add up to 50 hours over the next month to completing this goal. From now on, I will be referring to my methodology as parallel progression. I will still be working with a textbook. I've chosen the ebook version of Prego, an invitation to Italian, but I will not be following the traditional linear sequence. Instead, I will be guided by relevance. I will build connections between words and grammar points depending on what feels the most interesting and the most effortless. Moving on to the next point without first striving for perfection. You'll see what I truly mean by parallel progression in the follow-up video, but for now, let me just give you some examples. You will see what parallel progression means in detail in the follow-up video, but let me give you some examples now. First, I actually like to start learning irregular verbs before I master regular conjugation patterns, like is the traditional sequence. See, I don't view irregular verbs as exceptions to the rule. Rather, they follow their own rules, just ones that are ancient, that no longer apply to the majority of verbs nowadays, and thus only usually remain in the most commonly used verbs like to go, to come, to be. Regular conjugation patterns in European languages are a more recent invention, so for me, it makes sense to learn them later, like they are the exceptions. This way, I start seeing irregular verbs as something interesting, a relic of the past, and I don't get frustrated having to learn these additional weird conjugations after the main ones. And I don't let the regular conjugation patterns interfere when I'm trying to use irregular verbs in a sentence. Second example, I will spend a massive amount of time, especially in the beginning, making and sorting flashcards. These flashcards will be taken from the book, but they won't necessarily be sorted into decks like they appear in the lessons. It's more productive to study vocabulary in context, and for me, that context looks like grouping them in semantic nests, meaning one subdeck for vocabulary related to hobbies, another for education related vocabulary, another for expressions that have to do with time, etc., etc., etc. This way, if I forget the meaning of a word, happens all the time, at least I can remember which subdeck I practiced in. I can think of close synonyms that allow me to rephrase, and generally I will have a library of the vocabulary that I know that I can browse in my head while I'm searching for the word I want to say. And so, what will be the moment of truth? After 30 days, I will arrange an interview with one of my Italian classmates. I'll hit record, I'll take a deep breath, and I'll give it my best shot. The conversation that follows, it won't be fluent. It won't be perfect, not even close. I am sure I will make a ton of grammatical mistakes. I'm sure I'll take a lot of long, awkward pauses to think about what I want to say next. And there will be plenty of times I will ask them to rephrase or repeat themselves. But the goal is that we communicate for 5 minutes. I'll introduce myself. I'll explain that I've been studying Italian only for a month. We will talk about school and our hobbies. I will ask about Italy or Switzerland, depending on where my mate is from. They will tell me about how pretty it is, how wonderful the food there is, and I will understand just enough to start getting hungry. I might even try to crack a joke and make them laugh. It will be nothing more than a simple, messy, 5-minute conversation. For them, it will probably mean nothing besides an experience to try to get themselves over stage fright. But for me, this will mean everything. It will be the result of 30 days of effort materializing in a moment of human connection. And I am so excited to share that moment with you guys 1 month from now. So, what level do I realistically expect to achieve? Let's be honest, I won't be fluent. I won't even be anywhere close to conversational. I won't be able to watch movies, read native level literature, or debate complex topics like politics. But I won't be zero anymore. My goal is to have a working vocabulary of about 500-ish words, enough to introduce myself, briefly talk about myself, and get the gist of slow, basic spoken Italian. The goal is to go from total beginner to at least functional beginner, to build the foundation. So, what are the principles guiding me into this? First, consistency will be king. I have to show up every day for 100 minutes, even when I really don't want to, and that will make all the difference. Second, I will have to trust the input. Reading and reviewing flashcards might feel really passive, but I believe that my brain will be able to form the necessary connections if I expose it enough to the language. Third, and this is really the big one, I have to speak before I feel ready. The fear of sounding stupid is really the biggest thing that is holding people back. I have to be willing to fail and make a fool of myself, because that is the only way forward. And finally, it's all about setting realistic goals. If I was aiming for fluency in just a month, I would probably quit on the third day. But a 5-minute, short and brief, sweet conversation, that is something that I feel I can actually do. This will be the reality of learning a language in 1 month. There are no shortcuts to learning a language. It's a series of small, frustrating, and awe-inspiring battles. Again, for me, it will be about facing my own limits and pushing forward just when I feel like quitting the most. It will be the quiet thrill of understanding a new sentence for the first time and seeing the world from a new perspective. It will be the joy and terror of having a real world conversation and building a connection with somebody. It will be about how proud I feel of my efforts after reflecting on having built something new in my head through slow and steady progress. It's not instant, it takes effort, time, lots of writing, lots of sweat, but it's one of the best things you can do to stay cognitively sharp and expand your horizons. And this will not be the end of the challenge. No, no, no. It's only the beginning. After my first month update, I plan to keep pushing forward, recording and uploading monthly updates until I reach fluency. In general, I think the total time spent studying a language is a much better metric for evaluating progress. So instead of in 30 days, what will my level look like after 30 days of total time spent studying the language? That is 720 hours. If you want to follow along and not miss any updates, you should subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so YouTube notifies you when those videos are processed and ready. I also have a lot of other language learning content, so that can keep you entertained in the meantime. And if you're on a language learning journey of your own or plan to start one soon, I want to hear about it. Tell me your proudest moments and your biggest struggles in the comments. I would love to answer any of your questions or give you advice if I can, especially if you're planning to do a similar strategy to mine. Thank you for being here and sticking until the very end, and I will see you all next time. Ciao, ciao.